Welcome to another episode of the Infinite Podcast.
How the hell did you shout that out like that?
Salutations. Welcome.
Well, you see? I want to know why everybody in the chat blaming me for the start time. Look at that. You see them? Is it my 48?
Because you're notorious.
What? Notorious.
I am notorious.
No. I am the most on-time person.
You were today. You got here before me even. I was like, what?
See?
Harley rolls up 15 minutes late. Like, it's crazy.
Exactly.
It's not true.
We're just busy talking in the green room, having technical difficulties, as we always do. But it's been oh my God, my voice just broke like a 16-year-old. If I had a girlfriend, she'd kill me. If you know The Simpsons, you know that one. Holly, welcome back. How's your week been? What have you been up to? How's things?
Good, I guess. I had a heck of a day. I started streaming Doom Eternal this week. So
I saw some of that.
Come check it out.
I got comments.
Yeah. Riskit just came in and make Holly bigger. So it's like, thank you. Thank you for the comment. Hey, Hamish is here. Hey. So I started streaming Doom Eternal this week, and it's going. And today I was off work today, so I streamed for a while, and I'm going to stream the next 2 days. So come on down. I hit 100 subs today. So if you guys would like, maybe go and sub to my channel, maybe that'd be cool.
I don't have an excited button. I was looking for a button that I could press. I'm like, what's a good? It's not 100 subs.
That's the wrong kind of excited.
Oh,
That's the wrong kind of.
Now it's time.
That's not on YouTube. So I was streaming today, and I was like 3 or 4 hours in, and my dog was sitting right over there, and he usually just hangs out in his bed, whatever. But I see him get up and start like doing this, and he's a hunter, so he was very intrigued. And then the other dog, you have two, the other one came down towards the room, and I was like, well, that's not normal. And I see the other one, kind of the little hunter guy, like looking real hard, and I was like, that's weird. So I just kind of looked up while I'm playing Doom. There's a freaking bird in my house. There's a bird up here. I don't know how it got in. We're like 3 or 4 hours in. I have really crappy windows up here. They need replaced, but I can't afford that right now. And so I don't know if it like was on a mission from God and like wedged itself between windows. I don't know, because I even have them like plastic taped up, because in the winter they're drafty. So I tape them up. And this little chickadee came in and was sitting like up on the shelves, and my dog was just like, and it would like bounce back and forth because my dog was making it nervous. Well, so I look up and I finally see the bird, and I was like, I'll be right back, and like threw the I'll be right back scene on. And I go out there. No, it's a little chickadee. I took a picture and I posted on Twitter. Okay. And my dog was like bouncing back and forth with it because it was nervous going back and forth. And so I grabbed them and I took them downstairs, because my dog would straight up like do anything he could to grab that bird and have it for lunch. Like, that's just the kind of dog he is. So took them downstairs, and I came back up, and I was like trying to peel off the plastic off of a window and open it up to let the bird get out, but it wasn't having it, and it flew into another room. So this is all while my stream is be right back. And nobody knows what's happening. So I run in the other room. I like tried to shush it, and it flew into another room. It's a really long story, but this is my story. So I came in that room, and I closed the door behind me. So it's just me in the small room with the bird. And we're looking at each other, and I'm like, please don't dive bomb my head. And it's like, bitch, let me out. So I like peeled the plastic off of a different window, and I was moving to go get something to make sure the window was propped all the way up. And this bird's like bombing the window trying to get out, but it was still down. So anyway, I propped the window up, I closed the door behind me, and I came back to streaming. It's like,
hang on, is the
bye,
bird still in your room, in the room still, or what's the
that room's dead to me. I don't have that room anymore in my house. It's just gone. No. I went back in like an hour later, and I didn't see it anywhere. I mean, I guess it could have been hiding. It was a little stunned after it dive bombed the window a couple times, but I didn't see it anywhere. I think it left. So I closed the window, but I also closed that room back behind me just to make sure, and I'll double check again like tomorrow and see. But if it's still in there, it's not getting out because the window's closed. Unless it MacGyvers its way out like it MacGyvered its way in.
So you've had a bird trapped in your... Have you been feeding it?
It just happened today.
Are you going to starve it to death? Like, what's the plan?
No, I think it's gone. I really think it's gone.
Oh, so you open the window and you close the door and you're like, let's sort yourself
opened
out.
the window and I left for like an hour with the door closed behind me. And then an hour or two. And then I went back up and I checked. It's a small bird, but I looked everywhere and I didn't see it.
Did you check above the door? Because sometimes they hide above the door. They're like...
It wasn't above the door. So then, like, half an hour after I got the bird locked in the room, my dog starts, like, acting like he needs to puke, and he was all sick, and he was, like, really blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, this is too much adulting today. Like, I'm done. So today was the day. It was my day off, and I was doing too much nature. There's too much nature inside my house. That's what I know. Other than that, I've been playing Adamfall and Call of Duty and Doom Eternal. And a little more indie, because I'm trying to finish indie.
Oh, I gave up. Did you make Holly bigger?
I did make Holly a little bit bigger today, and I did complain about it while I was doing it. It's like Riskit came in and said that I need to be bigger, and I don't know that that's really the case. So, chat, you need to let me know.
I'd like to know what that means.
It's not what you think it.
Okay, because my mind is right in the gutter. Yeah.
Surprise, surprise. T-roll.
Even the way I was saying it was suggestive. Make Holly bigger.
Umbra, how's your week been? What have you been up to? I did miss your show because, and I've been hopping planes. Like I've been in the office and hopping planes flat out. Like it's been. I only just finished Avowed last week, which is unbelievable. But yeah, how's your week been? What have you been up to?
Oh, that's pretty dangerous. You were hopping from plane to plane. Who do you think you are, Steven Seagal?
Yeah. Steven Seagal.
Changing. All right. I'm proud of you. Yeah, man. I had a really good week. I mean, this past week as well, I got a chance to meet a lovely member here, Holly. I met Colt. I met his wife. All lovely people. Holly barred me from coming to her house. I don't know why. It's like I was like, "Hey, can I come over?" She's like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "Damn, I didn't."
This fool. All right. This fool. So Colt and his wife came and stayed with me for like 3 days. And Friday night we went to Second City. And if you don't know what Second City is this comedy place here in Chicago, which is actually super famous because it is the birthplace of probably most of the people that you know on SNL, like Bill Murray, the Belushi brothers, Gilda Radner, Will Farrell, I think, came through Second City. Mike
Lots
Myers, like
of stars.
all these people that you know as
Anybody
super
from
famous
SNL,
comedians.
I've never heard of any of those people, but that's cool.
Anybody from
They
SNL,
all came through
you
Second
likely
City.
saw 'em. Yeah.
Yeah. So
What's SNL?
Saturday Night Live.
The three of us, he's trolling you. So the three of us went to Second City, and then we met Umbra later that night. And the plan was always that Umbra was going to come to my house Saturday night and meet Rand and Colt there as well. This Friday thing was just like an add-on. Guess what? Guess who didn't show up to my house on Saturday night? Rand showed up to my house.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who didn't show up to my house? And guess who messages at like 11 p.m. 6 hours past when he was supposed to be there?
Sorry.
There's so much left out of this. It's like, it's just crazy. So
it's not.
I have been waiting the whole day.
What do you guys think he did? What do you think he did?
What do you think?
He was playing Xbox. Oh, yeah.
When he had plans, this man does not understand that his phone also has what we call an alarm clock on it.
What's that?
Even for this show, he does not know what an alarm clock is.
But let's give credit. Today he was early. He was even early. He wasn't even just on time. Today.
I happened to stroll in here on time. I mean, that day, I was up waiting. I had my clothes laid out. I mean, I was going to come through fly. I'm telling you, I wasn't wearing I was probably going to wear my cap again, but I was going to take it off in the house, like a proper gentleman and everything. I was, going to come in there relaxed and cool, meet Rand and everything like that, the Chicago homie, and probably be attacked by Holly's dogs. But yeah, I was I was planning on coming through. I was up, I was waiting, but I was up for a long time overnight until that point. And then I was waiting all day. Holly never said anything. So I'm like, okay, maybe they're not doing it.
He doesn't know my phone number. He can't text me apparently.
What do you know? She was entertaining. She was entertaining Colt and
she's always entertaining.
And his lovely wife, Happy Bum. Shout out Happy Bum. I'll see you in the chat. And she said, no, Holly is telling the whole truth. Don't listen to Happy Bum. She's full of lies, Riskit. No, but I sat back. I got comfortable for a second, and I just woke up. It was like 11 something at night. I'm like, oops. And I hit her. She's like, I think she said something like, are you coming or something? I'm like, well. Oh, she said, no, you said you could still come after I have to hit you back up. And I'm like, it's a little late for that. You know how much it would have cost for me to get over there? By the way, in a round trip?
$77.
$80. $80. Now, I'm like, unless you're going to move me into your home, it's best I don't come over there tonight because that's too much to go back that fast.
Listen to this man. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And he's like, nope.
I'm sure we will meet.
Nope. Less than $100 is my limit.
Push it to the limit. It was legendary, Colt. I agree. Me and Colt did some karaoke, man. Colt rocked the house. I rocked the house. Then we rocked the house together. It was special. It was spectacular. We enjoyed it. But as far as this week, man, I've been playing a ton of AC Shadows. I have like 75 hours into that thing right now. Loving it.
I imagine if you guys were doing karaoke, if you guys were you dressed up to go out, right? So this is how I imagine that. Like Colt would probably wear some sort of brown jacket because it's sort of his thing. He'd probably still rock the Nikes and a pair of jeans. That's very much a Colt thing to do. And I would see you wearing like, I don't know, some sort of New York hat or Chicago hat. Maybe some sort of urban camo jacket.
Some urban. Is it urban? Camouflage,
urban camo. Yeah, sort of. I would say like gray, green, sort of, and then maybe some big work boot type things. I don't know. I feel like that's what you would wear.
Wow.
You
are astute, good sir.
Yeah, we were better than the drunk girls. I agree, Cole. I'm gonna start calling you the Great Riskini. But yeah, it's so weird to say. I have been so out of sorts of going to kick it with people. I think I was a little overdressed. and you know how this is going to sound so weird. I probably put on too much cologne. I was nice and fresh and washed up. I was just so awkward not having going out like I used to go out, right? So
Mhm.
but I did want to go and be presentable and everything, but I was just kind of overdressed. I'm just gonna be honest. But it's been a while, man, since I went and just kicked it like that. Socially, I've been kind of isolated a little bit. You know what I mean? I haven't even
Mhm.
kicked it with my band like I used to. I'm actually meeting back up with them next week though, so I'm trying to get back in the thick of it.
The what of it? Sorry.
The band.
Yeah. Well, look, man. When I went to, and I'm not going to make it this year either. I don't think, from the looks of how things are looking at work. But when I went on 2023, man, there was my heart was pumping when I stepped out of the hotel. I'm like going to meet all these people that I've interacted with online for years. Like it's a little bit daunting, man. There's a little bit of anxiety.
Yeah, it's a little daunting.
And then I met Holly, and she ruined the whole experience for me.
And then I see her face. Now I'm a believer. I wasn't over. Oh, thank you, Happy Bomb. Happy Bomb was very lovely. Colt, you were lovely too. Colt, you were much more petite than I thought, but then again, I'm a bigger guy. But and I don't mean, let me not say petite. That's not a good way.
I don't know if you can describe a man as
that's not a nice way.
You're not helping.
Colt was Colt was such in shape that he's smaller than me. I don't mean petite that way. It's just my vernacular. Colt was in a really good shape. He had his Xbox jacket on. I was very jealous because I want one. Holly, let me have yours. And it was just, yeah, don't overthink it. Just give it to me. And it was cool, man. It was just really cool. But you're right. It is kind of daunting to meet people who I've been listening to Colt. I've been listening to Colt for years. So to finally actually meet him in person was pretty cool. Holly now been talking for the better part of a year or two, right, Holly? So like a year and a half, maybe. So,
Yeah,
I was
almost
a little
2 years.
gobsmacked. Yeah, a little gobsmacked. Holly, hey. I'm like, hey.
What?
Nothing. Hey, Riskit got the cue. Oh, yeah. It was live in the thing.
Sorry. You're going to have to give me some warning for the cue next time. Yeah, it is a bit daunting. It's a little bit daunting.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is we haven't had we didn't do a show last week. Obviously, we had some things. I had some stuff going on with the family, which is obviously a little bit rough. I thought I normally don't skip shows for unless I absolutely cannot do them. I could have done that show, but I don't know. It wasn't a good week. So we had last week off. A lot's happened in the week. I've been working a lot. I only just got through Avowed. Really love that game. I want more of it. I want more of it to be sort of beefed out. I'd really like to see some sort of DLC for that. I think you could do it again. I think you could do it easily. You could pop in another section of the map and then go visit that. Because I don't know if you noticed, you obviously guys noticed there's only 3 sections and that's a big map. There's room for more, right? I'd like to see some of my decisions have a bit more of effect, but overall, I love the game. Game is beautiful, played well, really enjoyed it.
How far did you get in it? Oh, you finished it?
I finished.
Okay.
Yeah, I became a zombie. The ending was a little bit. Maybe it's all games when you finish a game and you're like, I'm finished. It's not every game where you finish a game and you're like, damn, like that was an ending, right?
Yeah, not everyone. Nope.
Yeah, and I feel like that Avowed just sort of fizzled at the end a little bit. I ended up dying and becoming a zombie in the farm thing, a revenant.
I think you get an achievement for that, right?
Yeah. I gave my body away
to that lady. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
all the ladies
no
want my body. I
spoilers.
can't.
Stop.
Oh,
a lot of people haven't finished it yet.
Well, it's like it's really you get it roughly at the first portion of the game.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean you get that ending. There's multiple endings. So someone may not get the ending that I got. Someone told me they got another ending. I won't say what it is, but I thought it was good, and I think it's sitting at about 8 is about right. I think it's a good game, not a great game, but I think all the recipes, all the elements are there for the sequel to be great. And I'd like to see that.
100. You know, we had the roundtable discussion on my channel and with Lucius, I think with Slow Mo. I really did enjoy the game, but that was one of my kind of critiques, was that it didn't excel in the storytelling part in that way, where it felt like it's kind of like with Starfield, where it's like, okay, this major thing is happening. Zoom into my face as I talk to you about this thing instead of actually showing you it. That kind of happened here, but it wasn't as bad in my opinion, but it kind of had that. You know what I mean? Like there's no CGI and cutscenes to show you some things.
Yeah.
I do think this was better handled than Starfield in some ways, though, because you got this big kind of semi-open world you're coming across and seeing some things happen. But and you got choice and things that will happen if you don't take care of some things or do things. So I had came up with the same idea. Like, if from what they did here, I expect the sequel to be way better from this work here.
Yeah, I think with the CGI cut scenes is a bit of a thing as well. Like, just to impact at those big story beats. I think every time you transition into a new world or a new section of the map, they should have had something like sort of impactful in the cutscenes. So I'm a fan of cutscenes. I know there's a lot of people that are like, skip that. Like my an old friend of mine who I used to play with when we used to play games with when we were younger. He was a big cutscene skipper, and me, I was like, whoa, I want to see this. So like, yeah, I mean, I think for me, I wouldn't have minded some cutscenes in there, a little bit more of this story. I don't know, having an effect. You know, there's a few things within the game that you do something and it has an effect, but it's sort of one big thing per area. I feel like there's a couple of things here and there, and then obviously it affects the ending, and that's great. But I'd like to see more of a world shift, you know, when you do something. But yeah, overall, I loved it. Really good game. I think a really good release for Xbox. And I think if they keep bringing out games that are at a consistent pace, if they bring out games that are like Avowed, that are good, you know, it's not great, but groundbreaking, but it's good. And if they keep bringing out those consistently good games, you know, I think we should see the zeitgeist sort of start to change a little bit for Xbox, which I think it already is.
It already, because this year is already looking good for them. Like, this is a great looking year. I just want to throw it out there, like, because see, I want to ask you, Fuzzy Tomato or Tomato, depending on where you're from. What did you feel about the Mass Effect series, 1 through 3? Don't count Andromeda for now. What do you think about the Mass Effect series? And I kind of use this as a litmus test right here, because Halo actually, Infinite kind of suffered from that, Riskit, if you remember, because you had the great opening cutscene, spectacular. Chief is taking, you know, grunts and such out. Then comes Big Man and starts knocking Chief all around and tosses him out of the, you know, the hole. And you're like, oh man, see, you love Mass Effect. Now, you just said you didn't like the CGI. Mass Effect has a ton of it. And especially it helps carry that story and shows you the set pieces and massive things that's actually happening in their world. That's what I mean by that. I'm not saying you got to have a super ton of CGI everywhere, but you want something to help carry the story and empower the story. And if you have something massive happening in the world, you can't necessarily convey that with just somebody talking to you face to face like they do in Starfield. Oh, this thing happened. Your decision made these aliens die. Like, no, show me that. I want to see this. That's a sin, as the writers would say. You show, don't tell. And Halo Infinite did that a lot, where you just, oh, he's an audio clip. No, I want to see that. What the hell happened to Locke and Bean, you know?
I'm the same. Like, you don't need cutscenes all over the place, like for every 5 minutes, but to just have some big impactful ones throughout the game, just to show some, just to ram home the feeling of the game. I think that there's nothing wrong with that. I like that.
Yeah, for sure. What's your thoughts on that, Holly? Because she's so interested in our conversation. Let me leave her alone. That looked her.
I agree.
That gave me shivers down my spine when you turned around. I'm like, did I do something wrong?
I like Mass Effect.
You like
everybody
Mass Effect?
Everybody should like Mass Effect.
But what do you feel about like the CGI in gaming? Like, I'm sure you could do with both, right? Either or.
What do you mean CGI in gaming though? That's what I don't.
Something to help
like
the storytelling. Yeah, cutscenes to help with
Oh,
storytelling.
well, you need cutscenes. I mean, not
Yeah.
every game needs cutscenes, but if it's narrative driven at all, I feel like cutscenes are I feel like they're necessary to really portray all aspects of the story. Might be a little, might be a lot, depending on your game, right? And how you integrate gameplay with it. But odds are there's going to be certain things that you need to convey to the audience that don't really go over in fighting or in a dialogue tree that you have to have with a character. Maybe you don't want to have 3 or 4 different options to progress a story because you just have a singular story that you're trying to tell. So,
Yeah.
having those
or even
RPG elements aren't, necessary or good in all things. Right?
Yeah, I sort of found Avowed just continued the gameplay, and you're like, oh, you killed that person, everyone's dead, and you like move on. Not very impactful, but if they had like a big set piece moment and then supported that with a cutscene, I think that would have made a little bit more of an impact.
You know what game did really well with the story that didn't really have cutscenes? Is my favorite game of all time, BioShock.
But they did have like in-game cutscenes, right? With like
not really. You would get a voiceover as you were going between sections in the worlds that would give you story. Like the Atlas would be talking to you in your ear, telling you, I need you to go get my family. I need you to go get my family. Here's what happened. As you're heading down a tunnel, right, to get to the next department or the next section. There might have been tiny cutscenes, like there were a few, but they were very short and far between. Like when you first meet Little Sisters and you meet the caretaker of the Little Sisters, I can't remember her name. There's a very short cutscene when she explains to you what Little Sisters are, what Big Daddies are, and that's it. It's just real short. But
Big Daddy.
Anyway, they did it very well, but I don't think every game is built like that.
Yeah, I hear you. Shameful admit, something shameful to admit. I have never really played through any of those games.
Kick him off the show.
That's because they're terrible.
Stop playing that Japanese stuff and go play the true Western brilliance of BioShock.
I do need to play it. I own all of them. I even owned them back then. I just never got a chance to get into them.
There is a thing actually that I've seen a lot of people talking about. I haven't got it in topics, but I might circle back to that. Like, well, maybe not, but like, let me get these super chats and then I'll circle back to that real quick. Hamish K with the $2 super chat. He says $2 for starting on time. I sort of feel like that might be a below the belt shot.
Definitely not seeing your $2 back to you. I was about to say. What does that A mean exactly? A $2. What is that?
It's Australian.
Okay, that's what I thought. Aussie. Australian dollar due.
Australian. Then we got Phase 23 Brooklyn. Sony gave their IPs to Bandai Namco to publish Patapon and Golf on PC and Switch, not Xbox. And they can make more money from Helldivers 2 on Xbox, but they won't. Then you think Sony will not try to block their games on Xbox. All right, well, I'll circle back to the whole thing that we're talking about that I was saying is not a topic, and we'll come back to that because Phase has sort of hit on our first topic for the night. And let me just make sure I got this down. So, yeah, look, there's been a lot of discourse about this online back and forth, and a lot of people have just seemingly got it wrong or maybe haven't explained it correctly or said it correctly. But as I do, I like to be right about things, as everyone does. So I did a lot of research on this in the background whilst I was working, occasionally brought it up on my screen. The boss walks past and I'm like, pretending like I'm working.
Yes. Start making random noises. Oh, yes. This is.
You just bring up an Excel spreadsheet. That's all you do. Because if people look at a spreadsheet, their eyes go crossed and they're like, he's doing something.
He's working. What's up, Soil Tech?
So Steam on Xbox has popped up like last week, so we didn't get a big chance to talk about it. And so if you don't know what happened, Xbox put up an ad that Tom Warren caught a hold of, and they very quickly deleted it. But on the ad in the background, you can see in the library or in the My Games section, there's a Steam section. Now, it looks very much like the PC app, and you can't access your Steam library through the PC app at the moment. And this could also very well be for the new UI for the Xbox. Who knows? We don't know, but it obviously raised some eyebrows and sort of set the community talking. The conversation turned, as it does, or as it was always going to Steam coming to the Xbox consoles in the next gen. So there's a bit of research I did in the background, and I asked some people who knew, because obviously you guys know pretty well, and a lot of you guys in the channel probably know as well, but Xbox really is just a virtual machine with an OS. And there's actually 3 virtual machines that sit within the Xbox. You've got your OS, then you've got your back compat, and then you've got your gaming section, the virtual machine that runs all the normal games, right? And so I guess my question is can you slot in a new VM into older Xboxes to play Steam games? And could you do it? Yes, you could, but it wouldn't run very well. And you would only be able to play limited Steam games. So I also wanted to put that one to bed, because there was some conversation about whether the older Xboxes could have their OS changed and then run some of the Steam games. So if Steam is to come to Xbox, is it possible from the Series X onwards? Yes, it is. 100%. You could pull out the OS that you already have, and you could drop a new virtual machine in that plays the Xbox games and the Steam games, and have a different OS, so you've got access to that part of the library, or to that part of the internet. So yes, you can. It can 100% be done. Then obviously the conversation turned to the obvious thing, and a lot of people said this, and I 100% agree. A lot of people were like, "Why do you care if Xbox, can play PlayStation games when you've got access to the whole Steam library?" And I'm like, well, I don't really, because I have a PlayStation. So any PlayStation games that I want to play, I'm going to play. I've already played on that, right? Except Silent Hill. I'm working my way there, but it's the conversation, right? People are talking about it and making assertions that are incorrect. So what I wanted to clear up definitely today on the show is that PlayStation can 100% technically and software-wise block Xbox games. That can be done. They do not need to block every single Windows game, or block Windows at all to block specific games. There's a lot of ways that they can do. There's a lot of ways that they can do this. So they can use licensing restrictions, and that would have to go through Steam to ensure that every game that every Xbox that links to Steam, it doesn't have access to that particular game. How do they do that? Well, you've got lots of things that I've written all this down so I don't get it wrong, because I want to make sure I'm correct here. Is you could introduce digital rights management. It basically, what that does is send out a signal to see what type of device is accessing that game, and it could completely just stop you from playing it. They could use APIs that basically is a set of rules for downloading the game that would then block Xbox from even downloading and accessing their games through Steam. There's a few other things that they can do. They can identify the BIOS. They can identify a whole bunch of different technical things. They can even identify what kind of GPU and CPU you are using when you access a Steam game, or when you access Steam. That's how they get the list that you guys have seen probably over the years of what type of machines are playing or are most prevalent on Steam. You know what I mean? So there's more RTX 3080s than there is, whatever the hell it is. No one cares about PC. I mean, I'm starting to, if we have any generation that's got PC in it, it's good. However, all of those things require Steam to okay them. This is Steam's platform. So at the end of the day, they have the final say. There's licensing agreements, there's tech agreements where if PlayStation wants to do something with their IP on that storefront, it goes through Steam. Just like if you're a third-party developer and you want to put something in your game, PlayStation has the final say, or Xbox has the final say on whether they publish that game, how they manage that game on their storefront. It's their storefront. And the other final thing that I wanted to say is, like, people saying, well, they've already put their game on Steam and it's been there and now they couldn't do anything with it. Yes, they can. and just send an update for that game to then to use API to figure out what machine's accessing it and then block it. They can do it. It can be done technically. I don't think that they will. This is where I think this is where the conversation is and where the debate is will Steam do it? I personally do not see the value in Steam blocking anyone from downloading a purchase or purchasing a game from their storefront. It makes no sense to them. There's no downside for them, for people buying PlayStation games on Xbox, and there's no upside for them to block it. So I think it would take PlayStation handing over a lot of money for them to even consider doing this, is where I think we're sort of at. So look, I know it's a conversation that some people don't like, but I wanted to get the panel's thoughts on whether they think, because I just want to be clear, they can do it. It can technically be done. Do we think Steam will do it? And then I guess, why don't you think Steam will do it? And where are you at with it? Umbra, I'll jump to you quickly and just sort of get your thoughts on, because I know this is a conversation that some people aren't really into, but
I want to give a real nuanced take to this, because I was actually talking to the guys about this over Discord. I rarely visit Discord, but when I go. Holly, what you got something to say?
Umbra spends more time in Discord than he does sleeping. That's
probably
right.
true.
It's probably true. She's not wrong.
He spends more time sleeping in Discord than he does sleeping in
real life. Probably sleep in Discord, yeah. Like literally, I'll be going to sleep in there with him, knocked out. I want to give a real nuanced take, because I talked about this with a lot of the fellas, including our resident Einstein of technology, Kay Asante. And the thing is, though, I have to quickly step away for a quick second to get my order. My delivery just arrived from Instacart. If I can grab that really quick, I will be right back to, as Kay would say, regale you with knowledge. So give me 1 second.
Look at this guy.
What? I can't use that. What?
Well, let's get Holly's take while you're
You better run, because I don't have much of one.
What is it?
Run.
I believe in you, Holly.
Is it like a drone that drops off? Anyway, Holly, how you? I can't wait for that time when we're getting like our food dropped off by drones that the restaurant owns. It's like just anyway, totally different thing. It's coming soon on TV. So good. I don't tip anyone ever.
Oh, you should tip your food drivers.
In Australia, we do not tip. We pay them well enough to not require a tip.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Like when I was in Iceland, like all the food was very expensive, but there's absolutely no tipping. That's like not a thing at all. There's not even a line for it, I don't think, on the receipts.
You get a tip. In Australia, I do tip. That's not true. In Australia, you get a tip if you do something that's worthy of a tip. If your service is immaculate, or your food is fantastic, then you're worthy of a tip. But we don't tip just because it's like, 10%, it's polite to tip. It's never polite to give your money away. It's polite to keep your money in Australia. Anyway, Holly.
Well, that sounds like a whole nother podcast. So I don't know. Like I've heard back and forth on this. And frankly, I'm just kind of the let's wait and see. I have a PC. I don't really care. Sorry, but it is like, it would be nice for a console to have access to Steam, because like some of the like the one in my bedroom, it would be nice to be able to play, whatever game I was playing on my PC. Like somewhere else in the house, right? That's not just at the PC. Mm-hmm. So that would be great. And I would love for everybody to be able to, kind of access the Steam store and the sales and all the other things that come with it without having the burden of a PC, right?
PC is a burden, yes. I'm with you.
It's a joy and a pleasure. Besides that, as far as will Steam block it? No. Isn't it part of like, I haven't, to be fair, right? I haven't paid much attention to this because I'm just like, it's all conjecture at this point. It's like 2 years away. There's, like any announcement is like 2 years away, right? So talking about all of this Steam box and all this whole conversation about what the next console is going to be gets a little repetitive because it keeps coming up all the time, and we still have another 2 years
Get used to
before
it.
it's announced. No, it's already been going on. Like, we need to chill. We should just be talking about games and what games are out, what games are good, what games have problems, what games suck, right? But as far as Steam is like very proud about their, you know, their openness on their platform, right? And that's how they've always ran their business. So I don't see Steam taking an extra effort or an extra step to allow PlayStation to do a thing through their platform. I also don't see that when we know that Gabe Newell and Microsoft have, a pleasant relationship together.
Mhm.
Right? They're not like, and even Gabe at one point in time, right, said something about allowing Xbox Game Pass within the Steam ecosystem or something like that, where it's got some sort of symbiotic relationship.
Mhm.
So there's no reason to think that Steam would ever actively do anything to affect Microsoft owners or Microsoft gamers. I could see them just pulling a passive, well, whatever, like if this is the code we get from Sony, this is the code, I'm not going to step in. But I also see them just going, what? This is silly. Like, I'm just not going to take that,
That's more than likely the case, the latter.
Yeah, I don't see them. And frankly, I 100%, even if this was all possible, even if Steam allowed it, in no world do I ever see Sony saying, yes, let's make sure that we code our PC ports to not allow the Xbox to have access to our games through a Steam interface. I think that's ridiculous. That's so much money that they would just be leaving on the table. They would still look like the good guys to all of their fans, right? And it would still look exclusive because its only console port would be a PlayStation. And it's super silly. I just don't see them leaving that money on the table. Yeah. And they really won't be the only thing I could see Sony doing, I think they're going day and date for a PC, but the only thing I could see Sony doing is still keeping that 6-month window on their releases on PC, if in fact this is the next. If they were going to go day and date, maybe they keep it 6 months now. But we don't really care, right? A lot of you don't even have a PlayStation, so why do you care if you wait 6 months to get the game? What's it matter?
Console warring, so they can rub it into our Who brothers' faces naturally.
But no, but I'm saying if you didn't have a PlayStation, now you've got this Xbox with Steam access. You don't care if you have to wait 6 months to get that game. Just like PlayStation guys don't care that they had to wait 4 months to get Indiana Jones.
Right.
They don't care.
But they use it for console warring. You see what I mean?
But
so they
who waited. Console wars now? Stop it. Stop it. It's silly. Stop it.
Still do.
It's ridiculous. Stop it.
Look at Riskit.
I know.
I don't console war, but I'm just saying they still console war actively. So this is just like another feather in the cap. Yes. Is that Diet Pepsi?
It was
no Pepsi in this house.
What? Pepsi is better than
Pepsi's crappy. It is
Pepsi
not.
is definitely not better than my son thinks that's weird.
Your son is right. Yeah. Pepsi is so much better. Anyway. Yeah, Diet Coke too? Anyhow.
Diet Coke sucks.
Yes, she's drinking pop.
Keep drinking that sugar. It's fine.
Yeah, you're drinking it too, technically. Anyway.
You just call me sugar?
Sugar. No, so like...
You said you keep drinking that sugar.
You hear what you want to hear.
Yeah, you heard what you wanted to hear. But no, like, okay, so... All right, Happy Bum said that Coke is better. Okay, I changed my mind. Coke is better. All right, you win. Only because she said it, not because of you. All right. See, Biff got it. Okay, let me be quiet. Anyway, So there's a lot of things here, and I'm going to try to get through this as quick as I can because I did some, like I said, I talked with the guys and I did a bit of grokking here, and I'm going to read this and I'm going to interpret it as best I can. So, for instance, you talked about how they can do hardware and software blocking, Riskit, and yeah, you're technically right. They can do that. So, for instance, they have what they call hardware ID, HWID. So they can go through that, and it's all tied to each operating system. So they could, as they say, theoretically embed code before release, or maybe even go back and alter code and say, okay, you won't work for this specific hardware. They could do that. They can put in firmware or things like that to acknowledge certain things that's coded with Xbox, whatever, be it the hardware encoding and things like that Xbox does for their Fusion Xbox PC or whatever, right? But then you have to look at the possibilities, and that's where it breaks down, because now, yeah, it's possible, but then, for instance, like they can use APIs or low system. What's the word of it? How did Kay explain this? They can use low level system calls, so they can reach out to reach the hardware details and say, "Hey, we're not allowing that on this platform," right? And then they can send a DM or a DRM code, because DRM are all in Steam anyway. Let's just get that clear. So they can say, "Hey, we restrict this on this specific platform because whatever." For instance, they do that with GeoForce, right? GeoForce is not allowed to stream their games for this reason. So, but that is a different thing, because that is a more it's a software-based thing that GeoForce has direct ties and control over, whereas Steam is more open.
It's GeForce.
Am I saying Geo?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but they can do that. So exactly what you're saying is they can do that with, they can identify your hardware and they can identify your software. Those two things they can do, and then they can also put in digital rights management code into a game to stop download or to stop actually playing the game.
Yep.
So
or they can update they can update their software on their side and not allow for it either, right? So there's possibilities there. Now, these are the challenges of that, to do such a thing, and this is what Blue was alluding to as she slanders my beloved Pepsi. With it.
So I need a pop filter.
Is that what it is, Biff? GeoForce is a superhero. Okay, that's probably why I got that. Okay, so Xbox is the fusion that they're doing here is going to be Windows based, right? They already talked about it being the 32. What did they say? Windows 32 and things of that nature. So it's not like it's going to be just specific Xbox coding. And also, too, we know about the hypervisor situation. So I wonder how that all plays into it, and if they can even identify something like that through that type of tech. You know what I mean? I wonder how that will play into anything. I don't know the answer to that.
So my thought on that is that it's you're not going to have a you're gonna, even if you have very much Windows 32, you have very similar Windows, there's still going to be slight customizations on the Xbox Windows version that are going to be identifiable if you know where to look, and they'll know where to look. So,
okay,
I unless it's just a straight up PC, but I don't think it's going to be that. Like Xbox is going to have their own. If they do this whole Steam thing, when you boot the console, it's going to boot to you're going to be able to choose whether you boot to the console or you boot to sort of being a PC.
Itself. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so just to have that in there, that's going to be something that's customizable that can be identified. So,
yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
I want to know how they'll be able to identify it. I guess they'll be given that code. I don't know how that'll work. I mean, I don't understand a lot of that part. I'm sure Kay could probably yeah, well, what they'll do is okay. All right. You're speaking hieroglyphics to me at this point, but okay. So one of the challenges is in this is Steam, though, because Steam and Valve doesn't really allow their people to put their games on their platform to restrict games on whatever Windows device. So I don't think that, to Blue's point, I don't think they're going to be suddenly capitulating to Sony and saying, okay, we won't do this thing and we'll work with you. I just don't believe it. For one, they don't need Sony. Sony needs them. You see what I mean? Steam is clearly growing. It clearly most people will go to Steam versus the other storefronts from Epic and GOG, things of that nature, as far as the launches go. So Steam is where it's at, and they even have the Steam OS coming up soon. Clearly, Valve is making some crazy good moves, and that's where most people will buy their games or play their games. So it's not, they don't need Sony. So I don't see them capitulating to that for Sony. That's the problem for Sony. So is Sony going to try to push that? I don't know. So they would have to
Push it. Good.
negotiate that with Valve, and then also I would wonder too, what does that violate, right? Because they already have certain things set up, for instance, that could lead to legalities, that could lead to, Microsoft maybe suing
licensing
them.
issues.
Yeah, because it could be seen as antitrust issues, right? Now, I think Face made a great point where he was pointing out that those games are skipping Xbox, et cetera, what makes us think that they won't try to block their major hitters from being accessible through Xbox. Well, there is a little difference, right? It's not like they're giving it to Xbox themselves. They're using a different platform which allows for access to it. So, and the challenge though is, to be fair, is that would Sony do this knowing it could backfire on them, and people would essentially be like, what do I need a PlayStation for? To be fair, right? So that there is the chance where this could cut into them as far as hardware sales and things of that nature.
I don't know. I feel like that if you're in an ecosystem at this point, it does feel very much like this, that you're staying in that ecosystem. I feel like people have set down roots at this point. I wasn't willing to believe that at the start of this generation, but it just seems that way. I mean, going back to that hairdresser dude that does, he's not a hairdresser, he's a barber, but that dude who does, who cuts my hair, and he was like, oh, I heard COD's coming to Game Pass, and Game Pass is on Xbox, and me and my friends are talking about switching. I went back, and I'm like, cool, did you switch? And he's like, nah, we just bought it on PlayStation. And I'm like,
right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's the mentality, right?
It is, yeah. And that was one of the things I argued the other day off something else we were talking about, and people were like, well, Xbox doing this, what will make people want to stick with Xbox? Well, people don't just change like that. People stick with what they stick with. Not everybody's like, oh, I got a taste of PC, I'm gone now. That's not how it works, But
I would say though, well, wait, I would say if anybody's switching these days, I don't think it's switching from Xbox to PlayStation or vice versa. It's Xbox or PlayStation going to PC.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. And there's reasons to. This is the thing. There's like, that's the thing. I completely agree, and I understand the reasoning behind it. I think all of you guys are traders, but I understand the reasoning. The reasoning behind it is that everything's available in that ecosystem, and so if you got the money, and this is the thing with me, like if I had $8,000, because that's what it would cost to get top of the line 5090, maybe even $9,000. Top of the line 5090 with all the fruit, absolutely everything. I do. I'm not getting anything that's below par, right? So I'm getting the best of whatever I can get, and I understand that like people, like everything's there. So why, if you're going to switch, why are you going to spend the $700 if you're happy enough to spend like $2,000-3,000 US, and then you set up for the next 3 generations, and all you got to do is change a part. I get it. I do get it. Like, and it does seem to be the way that people are gravitating, man. And I think that Xbox is, if Xbox is smart enough to go, cool, well, let's hold on to the gamers that we have in the ecosystem that we have, and give them access to Steam. Let's open up our platform so that we can have access to everything. The guys that are there that are happy with that hardware, stay there. And then it does put PlayStation in a position, though, Umbra. I think you are right. It does
quite a pickle. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like there are other ways. We talked about the DRM situation, right? They definitely could do that. They could do the nonsense they did that landed them in hot water with the Helldivers 2, and what was the other game that they did that for? Where they found out the hard way that PC players and gamers don't really play that. And they require like the always online situation for them to sign up to have a PlayStation account essentially. Well, PlayStation PC gamers were like, "F you," and they had to, walk that back. They suffered because of that. Sony, they had losses where they start. It hurt Helldivers after a minute, if you all remember. So there are workarounds too. So like if they pull things like this, and obviously the most drastic would be literally pulling their games from Steam. But why would you be stupid enough to do that after all this time, right? After everything you've done. So that's not happening. And then there are other ways around it, because the one crazy thing I've learned from being on PC and playing as I have is that these PC guys, be they modders or hackers or whatever they are, they will find a workaround. Yes, bathe me in the PC goodness, but they will find a workaround. So like if you're, even if they put these things in there to stop it, somebody's going to find a patch or something, and they're going to mod it to allow for access anyway through these Xbox PC Fusion. So, and at the end of the day, does it really matter for Sony to do that? They're still getting their money from the sales from these games. I just don't see it. I guess the bigger thing for me is, could it cause trouble for Sony as far as the thought of,
disrupting this?
Yeah, do I need a PlayStation, right? But they have such an established base. I don't see many people dipping away from Sony still. And not everyone wants to be on PC, right? Or even a PC Fusion or whatever. So I think they'll be content one way or another. But I will agree with Holly. I think you made a great point, whereas maybe that day and date doesn't happen now. Maybe they say, okay, 6 months to a year, we'll stick to that, so we can at least deny those on the Fusion Xbox from getting it day and date, right? It still gives us some leeway to have reason for you to get it here because of FOMO, right? So there is that. I think that makes some sense, honestly.
I think though, yes, I still think that's possible. But I think Xbox is going to show with their new strategy that idea isn't really much of a FOMO, right? Because now that Xbox has all these games, and even if they release them 4 to 6 to a year earlier than on PlayStation, how many of those people really went out and bought a secondary console as an Xbox? Probably not a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can't see. If it was me, right, I don't have enough FOMO to go buy an entire console just because of 1 or 2 games, right? Even
I mean, you bought PSVR too, but
sometimes it's so hard. It's so hard.
33 Immortals is in early access on Xbox, by the way, Risk.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so I just don't think, like, even with a regular slate of games, I don't think anybody's going to run out and go buy an Xbox as a secondary console just to play Xbox games 3 to 6 months or a year early, when they know that all of these are getting ported over to Xbox anyway. So it's going to be the same thing in the flip,
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing how it works out. I will say though that for Xbox mainstays who were all worried about games skipping their platform, skip Sony here, right? Let's ignore Sony. Let's say that's the case where Xbox guys won't get access to Sony games on Steam. Ultimately, who cares? Because you get access to so many other games that skip the platform all this time. So you're winning one way or another. Somebody was arguing, how will Microsoft? That'll hurt them if they're going to their store to go get. Why do I care what Microsoft does? They're trillions of dollars worth of a company. I don't care. Give me my game.
That's short-sighted. I mean, that's short-sighted from them. A little bit from you, but short-sighted from them too. Because
I'm just saying, that doesn't bother me. That doesn't hurt me.
Yeah,
that's their bottom line.
That's their problem. But Microsoft is not very likely to have a deal with Steam where they're like, oh, we're just going to lose money hand over fist with this deal. This is a fantastic deal for us. They are not going to make a deal. When that happens.
It's the same thing as them selling it to PlayStation guys. They'll get their 70% cut either way.
Yep.
So it's fine.
Yep, they're still going to get a cut on the, and because that Steam storefront is available on their Xbox, it may not be 70%, right? It might be like, let's do a 50-50 split because you've got access to all of our Xbox customers now, and they're buying through your store on our Xbox. We'll do a 50-50 split, right? Or let's do a thing where Xbox does a thing where like, all right, let's get rid of this $70 price tag. Let's drop this back down to 60. So we meet Steam on the price of all of these as well, and then we, we're matching
Most
the
Steam
prices
games
on
are
Steam.
70 now.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah, you don't hear PC players complaining like they did back in the anyway.
Steam games? No, they're not 70. You can find so many cheap deals for Steam games.
New games are traditionally $70.
Even those you can find for like 20 off and things like that. That's the beautiful part about Steam, because you got so many storefronts you can buy them from online. You don't have to.
We're talking about legit stores, not your bootleg stores. We're talking about the actual storefront.
Hold on now. Time out. We and her have to hash this out. What is the bootleg store I'm going to? Huh?
Not Steam storefront.
You ain't nothing. There are other legit avenues. Instant games.
I use them too, but we're talking about a storefront that a lot of people just don't want to be bothered to go buy a Steam key somewhere and hope that site isn't screwing them, right?
Listen, player right now. Players right now.
CD keys.
Player. Hey, he's listed. I'm player. He's listed them right now. CD keys, Green Man Gaming. Exactly, fantastical instant gaming.
It's not the point,
you have
though.
So many legit. We're talking about
the Xbox storefront and how it works, and how the Steam storefront would be identical. If people buy third-party codes from somewhere else, that's on them. But we're talking about storefront.
Storefront competing direct. Like, no, they would be in competition too. That's not like wrong to say that then Xbox is then competing with a platform on their platform. But if you're making a cut out of that platform, which they will, then you're not really competing. You're just making an extra cut. Think of all the games that people will buy now on Steam that weren't available on Xbox or PlayStation, and they're going to make a cut out of that. So they're just expanding their reach, their size of the pie. Yeah, 100%.
And that's my thing. That's why I say this is a W for Xbox in a lot of ways for that. Now, I don't know how the math is going to work out for them when it comes to sharing something with Steam or Epic or GOG or however they want to shake that out. I also don't care, because that's on them. At the end of the day, they have to figure that out, not me. But in the meantime and in between time, Xbox gamers get the W, because now you get access to everything. Maybe minus Sony, but then you never really were supposed to get that, right? Let's just say, right? So, and I still doubt that those games are going to be blocked. So I still think you're going to get them. But even if not, you have all these other games that people always talk about, these games skipping the platform. Well, now that's over with. That's done. So this is a major W just off that alone. And again, even if it's a matter of, to add to that at least. So, because again, going back to the storefronts, you can find so many of these games at such cheap prices. So having you a Game Pass subscription or whatever, and you and access to all these games, you can get at really affordable pricing because of these other stores. It's a major W for consumers. That's the way I look at this, and that's why I'm so excited for the future, what they have coming next year.
Yeah. But I mean, I just think it's just, yes, absolutely. This is all W for anyone who's playing in the Xbox ecosystem or in the Steam ecosystem as well. You're adding a bunch of extra players to the Steam ecosystem, which is only going to help games expand. We may also see publishers go, look, I'm just going to build this for Steam because it's going to be available on both Xbox and Steam. And there's probably going to be some sort of a hypervisor situation there with Steam, because that Steam game needs to sit in a specific container, right? Or it's gonna need to all be Windows, and eventually Xbox games will be Windows, right? Sort of built games. But when it comes to Microsoft making the deal and having Steam on the store, to think that they are going to, in some way, I mean, they might take a little hit on some things and then make it up on the back end. To think that they're not going to make a deal that's beneficial to them is just like short-sighted thinking. What the deal will be, who knows? But I don't think that Microsoft becomes a $1 trillion company, and I don't think that Steam becomes a, I think, $1 billion company without knowing how to negotiate a deal that works for them and their partners. And just talking about PlayStation is obviously going to be, when you talk about storefront piece of pies, like there's already situations where, two storefronts make money off the whatever the game is, and the developer makes money. You know what I mean? So PlayStation would make their money, Xbox makes their money, and Steam makes their money. There's a little bit smaller of a pie, I think, there somehow. And I don't know how that works and how it looks, but I mean, that's what happens in business, right? When you're paying for that reach, which is sort of what you do with your a storefront. If your storefront's over here, or you're getting games from over here, it's and even to your Green Man Gaming and all those things. I've used some of those for Xbox as well. Yeah. That's money that Xbox has already made. They've already bought that. That code's been sold, right?
Oh, good point.
Whether it's been sold at a bulk discount, for this amount of codes, and then we're going to sell it over here for whatever, that's money that's still already been made. So if it's bought on Steam and then it gets booted up on Xbox, I'm sure that there's going to be some sort of, Xbox is going to go, okay, cool, this is a code that we should be getting money for because it's available on our system, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see this being damaging to Xbox's store. I don't in any way see that.
I don't either. I think I want to see how everything's going to work out, like the math behind it. I guess I want to see a bit of that, but ultimately, I tend to look at things from a gamer perspective and consumer perspective. Like, what do we get? That's how I kind of look at this. Marsh asked, "How much is this box going to cost?" Well, we already speculated $700 and up, right? But they have the access of getting other third party publishers making their device too. So it could be crazy, like 2,000, for instance, getting a big, nice high end PC or something.
What I really want out of this, if it's true, is that I want my Xbox purchases to be fully accessible in the Steam store on a regular PC as well, not just on this hybrid box. That's what I want. I want like the reciprocity brought over fully into Steam for what's in your current library.
Yeah. I think that's the the thing that they're doing with the Xbox Play Everywhere thing.
Yeah, but I think it's in the Windows Store, right? Like, isn't that the caveat? Nobody uses Windows Store.
I know, right? Yeah, they need to. That's another thing we were all discussing, how trash Windows Store is on PC. So if they can overhaul that and get that correct, then they'll be on to something.
Or Epic, or put it in the Epic Store. That's fine too. I'm totally fine with that. But just give us. Just give us one where your previous Xbox purchases have reciprocity through a PC launcher that you can play not on your Xbox hybrid console, but on your PC.
I think the whole Xbox Play Everywhere thing and initiative. That's why they did the whole "this is an Xbox" thing, as we keep seeing, and all of that. All of that is tied to them allowing us to access our full library wherever. So, they're already working on that. They have to stick the landing. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, Player says publishers are not going to give away free licenses, and like I understand, but I think that Xbox went from Play Everywhere to Play Anywhere, or I think is what they did. I think it went that way, and I think that initiative is pulling in like all of the cloud stuff. You're on your phone. They've got that new backbone they just released, like all these things, right? But I think the point is that they are actively working on giving you a PC code or a PC access to the games that you've already bought. I think Xbox is trying to break that like fourth wall between your purchase on a console and your purchase on on a PC. Yes. Or a flipping handheld.
Phone. Handheld.
Well,
it's like Pictionary. Do another one.
What did player say?
He said they're not going to give away free licenses because
no, the other one. I like the way you say my name.
Player.
He didn't say that when you said it, bro. I sort of
like
agree with player. It's a tough one. It's a tough one to go back and do. Like, it's a tough one to go, like, for games you've already bought, we're going to do this. I think they can do it sort of maybe going forward, make some sort of a deal where it works out for everyone going forward with games you buy. But I don't think that's ever going to be a back compat thing where if you owned this game, like you own Alan Wake 2, and that's just going to be available. That's not. I don't think that's happening. So, but in the future, player, they can make a deal. It's all about money. So if someone's making money on the back end, that's what's going to happen.
Why you laughing?
That's what she said.
Oh, you're a nut.
We do got to move on to the next topic. Before we do, let's catch up on these super chats. BT Maverick 707 celebrates 4 months of membership. Thank you, BT. You're an absolute legend, long-time supporter of the show. Ollie's trying to get away with it. He said, Riskit, join us, and together we can rule the galaxy. I'll never join you. You failed, Your Highness. I'm a Jedi like my father before me. I think he's referencing he's referencing the thing that I post every single time someone tries to get me to PC. It's not happening. I post up my little Luke Skywalker.
You know, if he buys this new Xbox hybrid, then he's on PC, and you can all come back and mercilessly harass him.
Yes, sir. I'm waiting for that Riskit. You'll be
if I buy an Xbox crowd. It is an Xbox. Face 23 Brooklyn said during this Sony holiday quarter, 43% of users are new to PlayStation ecosystem. So where did those new users come from? Where did they come from? Zeitgeist. They came from Zeitgeist of people playing their the vast majority of console gamers being on PlayStation and all their friends playing on PlayStation. And it's just the thing that people, you go into and this is what bothers me, you go into any single brick and mortar store that's focusing on the gaming market. So like I think GameStop and our EB Games, every single one of those guys behind the counter, every single one of them is PlayStation. Every single one of them. And if you ask them, and I've done it, I do it often actually. If you ask them which one you should buy, every single one of them says PlayStation. And when you ask about Xbox, they don't know shit about it. They don't know anything about it.
I've seen it. I've seen it one too many times myself. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're the experts that are selling to mum and dad. They're the experts that are selling to people when they walk in the store. You know what I mean? And they're the guys that are going to swing people away from Xbox. And I feel like Xbox should have continued to do work in the brick and mortars, and they didn't. PlayStation didn't need to, but Xbox did need to. And we can go back into their marketing as well. I think their marketing's been really, really poor. It's just been really, really poor. They haven't been given the budget to do more. On all sides.
Even in, games, console, all of it, right?
Yep. The whole lot. They haven't done, their marketing, Xbox's marketing is like, we'll hit the digital and that's enough. It's not enough. It's never enough. Like PlayStation hits the digital. They also hit the side of buses. They hit the bus stops. They hit the billboards. They hit the brick and mortar stores. They hit the displays in the brick and mortar stores. They don't do events. And because they don't do events, because that's where all the hardcore gamers go. And the hardcore gamers already know, hey, this is what's going on over here, and this is what's going on over here, and they will have made their decision already. That's not picking up anyone new. Brick and mortars, on your TV channels, your free-to-air stuff, your big sports games, all that stuff, billboards, sides of buses, all that stuff makes a difference, and Xbox just has not done it this generation, or even the previous generation.
To add to that, Ice Cold just made a great point, and they said they count. He said they count the damn VR as a PS5. He's not wrong. So not only the portal, they count as that as well. And like for instance, even the way that Face wrote this, he just says new users to the PlayStation ecosystem. He didn't say PS5. There could be new PS4 people that it's tons of people that still on PS4, hundreds of millions, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or 100 million or close to. So it could have been just people buying another PS4 for all we know that added to that.
And there's also a lot of kids that play Fortnite and just Fortnite, right? And they play it on their tablet or whatever, and then their mom or dad buys them a PS4 Pro or a used one or a used PS5 or something like that, or even a new one, right? And they plunk it in their house, and in reality, how much engagement is PlayStation actually getting from a user like that, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's an install. Sure, you can count it as an install, but they're mostly just plopping into Roblox or Fortnite every once in a while. They're probably not really spending any money in the ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Besides
look at the top sellers. It's not PlayStation games. It's third party. Mm-hmm. You're right. And hell, in Microsoft games now.
And well, look, let's be honest. They honestly haven't made this generation they haven't made an undeniable hit. Like even God of War Ragnarok, even Horizon Forbidden Chest hasn't.
Somebody called it for Horizon Forbidden Sleep.
Forbidden Sleep. Yeah, they haven't made an undeniable hit this generation. So I again, I will always say to people that bring that up is like they're riding off the zeitgeist of last generation, and that's just continuing to happen. So that's just it is what it is, man. And to break that zeitgeist, you need a huge, solid marketing campaign that runs a generation. And Xbox is just not giving out that cash to do that because they don't feel like they're going to get the return. So I think they would, but I'm not in the boardroom. So, maybe Xbox should hire me. Phil, I'm available. I work hard already. Biff Rinaldi with the $10 super chat. He says, thank you very much, Biff. You're an absolute legend and also long-time supporter of the show. We've had Biff on. We're going to get him back on again soon. He said, I've got a baller PC and I still spend 95% of my time on the Xbox in my comfy chair on my big screen. If I could get PC performance in my preferred space, sign me the fuck up. I'd take that deal all day. Yeah, 110%. And that's why I won't, because I like to. Yeah, I have my Series S in the studio, and I have my X out on the big TV. I'm thinking about getting another X just to pop in here, but I have my X out on the TV. Like, I just want to be comfy, man. I just want to kick back, play a little bit of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Moving on to the next.
Where will you be storing your Xbox PC Fusion next gen? Where would that be stored?
Right next to the TV.
You mean his PC?
From my couch.
Yeah.
It won't be a PC.
Yeah.
It's just going to be an Xbox with Steam available.
It's going to be a PC with Xbox available, I think.
It's Steam ready Xbox. That's what I'm going to call it. That's what we should call it.
A PC ready machine that allows for Steam and Xbox integration. He's trying to deny it. Look at him.
He's riding this train till the wheels fall off.
Right.
Because console is just where it's at. I'm not a turncoat. I mean, I've been with the same sports team since I was born, and I'll be with the same. Anyway. So we're going to move on to the next topic. Before we do, please the like button, share us out. We go live 8 p.m. EST every single Friday, and we get to say salutations. I tell you what, this sort of surprised me because I was concerned about what was going on with this. Assassin's Creed Shadows, it seems to have landed well with gamers. I've seen a few reviews in regards to Shadows. I know Skill Up. You guys know I'm a big fan of Skill Up. He was less than, I think, he did not recommend it. I think he was quite fair in his review. I watched ACG's review, and it was sort of similar vein, maybe a little bit less negative. And then reading the reviews, and I think it did okay. But I don't. This is the thing. Like, a lot of people want this thing to evolve. I don't feel it needs to at this point. I think that they have evolved what needed to evolve. It looks absolutely stunning. Like, it just looks stunning. I can't believe how good it looks. And it's like, it's been too often with Ubisoft that I've expected it to look really, really good, and they've hit the mark. This one, they've hit the fucking mark, like, properly. So this is from my experience, because I've only played a little tiny bit. I know, Umbra, you've smashed in a ridiculous amount of hours. I know Monad in the chat, a great friend of mine who has smashed in a ridiculous amount of hours until he's had a bit of an issue with his Xbox. He's more my friend than yours, but he's he's your friend. He had a bit of an issue with his Xbox, so unfortunate. Where I think the power supply has shit itself, so I don't know what's going on with that. I want to touch base with him hopefully this week and find out what's going on. Maybe if there's anything we can do to help. But yeah, he smashed in a whole bunch of hours this game. I've probably got through the prologue and a little bit of the section after where you're just you're getting your home base. It has like a hub area. So I've just got that. And the combat is much harder than any of the other games. And I like it. It's a little more skill based. It's a little more time based. It's not Souls hard, but it's got that sort of precision. Like, you could smash buttons, I think, with the other ACs and just get away with like having a win. Just go in there, smash buttons, then duck out. Smash buttons, duck out. This one, you really got to sort of time up your parries. And there might be multiple parries in a row, so I was liking that. The stealth is really cool, man. They've sort of leaned back into that stealth aspect of it, which I really, really like. And of course, with the shinobis and ninjas is great. Like, obviously, great region and specific type of character to do it with. So I really like it. I liked Assassin's Creed. I always liked Assassin's Creed. I like the formula. I don't think you can expect too much from this. And just a couple of things before I jump over to Umbra, because I know Umbra's played a ridiculous amount of hours at this game. And I don't want to hear about how fucking good it looks on the PC. Please don't do that. We don't need to hear that. But anyway, so like a couple of things that you should know. Shadows marked Ubisoft's best day one launch on the PlayStation Digital Store ever. It was the most wish-listed Ubisoft title of all time, and it generated over 11 million hours watched on Twitch, the strongest start for any recent Ubisoft title, including Valhalla. I think that was from Games.biz. Christopher Dring said, in terms of physical sales, Assassin's Creed Shadows is the biggest UK game launch this year, comfortably ahead of Monster Hunter Wilds. That is a huge achievement. It also sold more box copies in 1 week than Star Wars Outlaws managed in 3 months. And it's short of 2020's Valhalla data, but also consider that Valhalla released at the beginning of a new generation, and it also launched, a brand new generation. What you can see, 60 FPS. I was hyped for it. It was my first game that I fully completed on the new generation, and it was during COVID, so everyone was at home playing. So that was a huge release. I think that sort of beefed up Valhalla's numbers. Another thing to note as well, significantly, PC represented around about 27% of total activations, which likely encompasses full sales and subscriptions downloads via Ubisoft Plus, with Steam playing a significant role in that performance. So think about that. That's 27% of total activations, not all of them through Steam, some of them through Ubisoft Plus, right? But then that's 73% of players on console, okay? So then remember, while we're here, that Xbox only makes up 27% of console players across all consoles that can access this game. And PlayStation players cannot access Ubisoft Plus. They can get the classic games, but they can't get the new stuff. So that means that around about 50 to 60% of the purchased games are going to be on PlayStation. For the argument that people are saying is it's not doing well because of the Steam numbers, and the argument that people are saying is it's not selling well because of Ubisoft Plus, that's just demonstrably not true. We don't have exact figures, but everything is telling you that.
I saw 9%. I saw 9% had been calculated for Ubisoft Plus.
So there you go. And then you're looking at, and this is a really conservative estimate that I made. It's probably earned a minimum. This is minimum, and not including subscriptions, right? And then really dumbing down the numbers, I probably knocked off about 20% just so I wasn't overestimating this. They made 100 million in their first week. That's week one. This game's gonna kill it. It's done really, really well. Ubisoft has had a really poor 2023, 2024. Seems like we're off to a pretty good start in 2025, aside from killing the first-person shooter COD killing game. I think they're doing really well. There's obviously some other stuff that happened with Tencent after this, but I think they're doing. I love the game. It's great. Looks amazing. Plays well, and it's doing really, 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 really well in sales. And so I also want to throw out there, just on the culture war side of things, the guys that wanted to fucking kill this game. I am so happy to see it fucking succeed. And I think it's a huge success. And I want to see more games like this where these fuckwits have tried to kill it, and it's absolutely succeeded. There was no reason that this game should have gotten mixed up in the bullshit that it did, because there's nothing in it that's even remotely should be bringing the culture war attention to it. So fantastic game, really like it. Great to see that it's fucking super successful. Really happy for the Ubisoft team. I think they've done a fucking great job. I think delaying it was the right decision. I can't say enough about this game. I think it's really, really good. I'm early in, but Umbra, let's get your take on the overarching, the whole lot of it. The sales, its success, culture war stuff. You want to touch on that, and how you're feeling about the game, playing the game as well? Because I'm just super happy for Ubisoft. Stoked for them.
Me too, man. Another thing that we had all been talking about is just how Ubisoft has been getting this bad rap from everybody lately. It's like this snowball of dog piling of negativity, right? And it's not even just based around Shadows. I'm just talking about in general. People kind of wrote them off of, the games are samey. You get the Ubisoft formula, etc. And they do, right? But every like major game has this kind of formula that they go to, whatever it may be. They still have great franchises. I mean, like ridiculously great franchises. Holly, you yourself know the Division, right? You're a big fan of that. I mean, they have the Far Cry series. They have um, what's my man's name? Rayman. They have Splinter Cell, which we are still hoping to see something from them with. Um, yeah, exactly, Russell. He did signal boosted that goofy. I'm so glad, by the way, to see that AC account destroy him and the other grifter Grums. That was fun. But yeah, I'll get to that in a second. But so they have been getting a bad rep. So to see this right here do well, it does do my heart well, because I think gaming discourse has been ruined by a lot of these guys. So it's good to see that it's doing pretty decent. I don't know how crazy it is in sales wise, whatever, but clearly 3 million players already in whatever how many days shows that people are very interested. And so, second most, I believe, at least starting after what was it, Valhalla? So yeah, they're doing pretty well. What was that?
Sorry. Every time I hear Valhalla is
Do it again.
no.
Valhalla?
I'm not gonna do it again.
Valhalla.
Sorry.
Do it. He's crazy.
Just like hear the thing
There you go.
in my head. Yeah.
Like
Like a turkey.
But yeah, so it's good to see them. I'm sorry, y'all. It's good to see them essentially, it seems like, rebounding here. Now, we did see this new incident where they're talking about Tencent and them working out some new deal that's already been in place. And of course, the grifters try to take credit for that too. Yeah, well, we maybe influenced it. Oh, shut up. You didn't. But anyway, all of that said, the game is all types of spectacular. Cullen said it great. It looks so damn good on the PC. I know it looks, listen, this is the thing. It looks great on Xbox and PlayStation as well. It just looks freaking phenomenal on PC. I'm talking about from the wind, the way that everything blows, the trees around, different leaves and things like that falling and blowing around, to clothing moving, to people walking around and being affected by the weather and trying to find shelter, to the floors or dirt floors, whatever, when it rains and it's starting to get muddy, to the hardwood flooring of like certain outings being wet by it and looking so crazily realistic, to the snow when the weather changes. And I mean, the game I could praise this game for an hour or something and not have enough superlatives to toss at it. The thing, I'm so blown away by this, because you all know me. I'm Mr. Unreal. You always hear me hyping it up and giving it its due praise, because Unreal sets the bar to me when it comes to visuals in gaming. If you get the right team on it, like a coalition, which you can imagine, E-Day is going to look insane, right, y'all? But look at how great Shadows looks. And I look at this and I play this, and it's this wide open world of consistent beauty. Unreal couldn't do that. I'm not even sad to say that. Now, Epic is going to cut my money. I'm sorry to lose out on this little change, but it's just real. I had to do it, Gray. I had to. All I'm saying is, this engine here is doing something Unreal could not do. Unreal does not do that well when it comes to massive open worlds and being consistent in their visuals like this. It just doesn't happen. What the Ubisoft has here is truly special. And so I'm just blown away by that. Now you go from there to the character's hair. I'm just being real. Like, I had to be real. But you go from there, you go to the hair, you go to the character design, you go to the detailing on the clothing, you go to the detailing of the world. This game is up there on par, in my honest opinion, maybe just under it to Red Dead Redemption 2 as far as world detail. Just under it. It's prettier than Red Dead Redemption 2, but it's just under it as far as the world detail and how engrossing it is. And now
I mean, the horses'
even the
balls
horses.
don't shrink.
Yeah, I don't know if the ball shrinkage happens, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did add that in there. But I hadn't seen it so far. And yeah, Biff, it looks gorgeous on mine too. And I'll say so. Combat, you mentioned that, and you're right. The stealth is excellent, right? You play as Naue, you play as Yasuke. Very different play styles. I like how they handle this. Now, this is my first foray into the more modern Assassin's Creed games. So for reference for people who don't know, because the last game I played in the series was Unity. I hadn't played past that. I didn't beat Unity, so I have to go back. So Unity, Syndicate, Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, Mirage, haven't touched any of them. Unity I touched, but I didn't beat it. But all of those games I hadn't played. So Shadows I'm stepping 7 games ahead right here. And so this is all new to me. It has the more RPG-esque type feeling in some ways. The combat, it reflects that. It's not the standard kind of stab you and run away, or like you said, Risk, where you just press, mash the buttons and stab somebody up or whatever and run off. No, this actually takes precision, and you actually have to pace yourself and parry when needed, and avoid hits when you have to, because they'll hit you with an unblockable hit, for instance, or unblockable swing or whatever it may be. And it can one shot kill you too, as it should. It's a sword, right? Or I forget what they call it, a kusanagari, or or what they call those sledgehammer looking things they carry around. I forget the name of a tumbo or whatever. So they have all these different things. It's like a big club, essentially.
Yeah,
a spiked club, and I would not want to be hit by that in real life. But so they have all these different ways, and so when you play as Naue, and she has the kusanagari, or she has a shuriken, or she has her kunai, or she has her katana, you have different ways they utilize these weapons. So it adds a lot of diversity in attacks. And then you have her while she sneaks around. I would highly suggest everybody put it on its highest difficulty, as well as how it is when you sneak around, because it really does pull you into the world where you have to be more careful, and you can't just dump around all crazy and like you're invisible or whatever. You really have to properly get around, properly move around, rather.
Like move slow, because you make noise as you move, and that could be. But difficulty combat wise, I had my ass kicked. I've had my ass kicked so many times. I'm like, and I've got it on normal, and I'm like, holy shit, this is like difficult. But if you play, it's like it's not like Sifu, but it's Sifu in a way. Whereas if you play like you learn the game properly, then the skill comes in. So like it's not hard to play if you've got the skill level. So Holly probably hasn't played it, but sorry,
for sure. I don't know if Holly has the skills for this, but yeah, she has something on her face. But no, like the combat is really dope, and it has that. It has that very cool visual flair. If you do a special attack, like you have your special abilities you can use. So they have the standard samurai sheath the sword, unsheath slash they do in all these different, medias and such. It just looks so dope in this game. And it's devastating. So Yasuke is a powerhouse. He can run through and break through walls and stuff like that. He can karate kick someone far away with a Sparta kick, literally about 30 yards away. I'm like, I see you kick my buddy like that. I'm just going to go ahead and let your black ass go. I'm not fighting you. If I'm one of these Japanese soldiers or whatever, I'm like, all right, you got it. Yeah, I just saw you kick my man 30 feet away. No, I'm not fighting you. But so he does all of that. He does like crazy fatalities. We could chop people up. So they don't shortchange you when it comes to gore and things like that and blood. You can turn it off, but it's on by default, and so you get all of that. And I'll skip ahead past that because it could vary for people. But I do remember hearing Destin Legary speak on this, and I was like, to me, he led with such negativity, and I thought like, like, brother, what are you talking about? Because he was like, oh, the combat is just okay, whatever. But I'm like, the combat is damn good. It's not like, I don't think it's like setting a new bar or standard, but I think it's damn good. And I've played Ghost of Tsushima, and I would say Ghost of Tsushima's katana combat is the best in gaming. Don't get me wrong. When it comes to that, for that particular style, I think they have a very nice stylistic style for Ghost of Tsushima, but it's not shortchanged here in this game at all. They do a great job of what you can do in the combat in this game. Like, it's not bad and in any fashion. um, it is there are differences between the two play styles, which you'll have to get used to. But I think that adds a lot of, I think, more diversity to the gaming, and it just makes the game more fresh, where you don't have to just, oh, I'm doing the same thing over and over and over. And this map size is so gigantic on things you can do. Of course, you can choose not to, but that goes back to my point, because Destin, I was on his channel when he was talking about this Risk, and he was like, well, I didn't like this, and I don't like that they did that, and I'm like, listen, if you guys are hearing this, try the game for yourself. If you want to rent the game for Ubisoft Plus, do that. Don't just take his word for it and run with that. And I'm not trying to be funny, but I think Destin has kind of been on this negativity arc lately, and I've noticed that with a lot of these guys in the media, where it feels like they sound jaded to me. They just sound jaded. Like, I'm like, what game did you play? And so I'm not trying to throw any shade at him, because I think Destin is a good dude. But I look at how he talked about South of Midnight. I look at how he talked about this, and I'm like, I don't know. Now, I can't speak on South of Midnight just yet. I will be next week, of course, on the 3rd. I have early access, of course, because I bought the definitive, whatever. But I'm just saying, I just feel like there's a lot of jadedness going on with these guys and journalists lately. But all of that said, the world is beautiful. The game is crazy from a combat standpoint. I love the voice acting, be it in Portuguese and Japanese or in English. I think they did a great job all around.
Yeah, I see. I'm a little bit. I don't know about the story beat of it, because I haven't. The acting has been okay, and so like I played. I've obviously played every Assassin's Creed that's launched. I played a little bit of Syndicate and didn't like it. I know a lot of people are like, "Bah, what?" I loved Valhalla, but a lot of people didn't love Valhalla. I liked it, and I also I thought it was better than not Origins. Odyssey, I thought it was better than Odyssey, and a lot of people disagree. I think Origins is better than Odyssey, and the act. And see, my son said something to me the other day while we were just talking about like Assassin's Creed coming out, and he said like the last good Assassin's Creed story and acting was Origins. So shout out to Abubakar Salim, because if you don't know, he played the main character in Origins, and I think it's probably right. Like the Bayek, I think the story's not as strong so far, but I think the acting's been pretty good. Definitely not anywhere near as strong as Origins. I think they just sort of lucked out, because they generally don't use a big name actor for the game, and they sort of lucked out picking up Abubakar Salim before he sort of got as big as he has. He was a great actor, but I think so. With the negativity that we're talking about, and I think we can definitely bring Holly in on this, because I know Holly hasn't really been into the Assassin's Creed sort of thing, but I agree. But I think Ubisoft has definitely earned that negativity in a lot of ways. With their foray into live service, trying to turn Ghost Recon into what they sort of turned it into. I don't think they've lent heavily on the games that they should. Like, we should have seen a Division 3 by now. And that is a fantastic game. And we should have seen 2 was great. 1 was amazing. 2 was great. We should have seen a 3. I think they made some really.
We don't have 3 because they tried to launch that Heartland, and then they also tried to launch the mobile game, and they scrapped both of them pretty late into production, which, like, at this point I'm like, just give me something, even if it was bad, right? I mean, it was smart of them to get rid of those, because they were just going like full-blown free-to-play live service. The Division is live service, but it's different, right? It's a fully fleshed out game with campaign that also has live service elements. But
Yeah, and I think they've made some. That's sort of what I mean with them is they've made some really bad business decisions that gamers have told them when they're like announcing this stuff, and they've listened and you know the Ghost Recon Live service first person shooter thing that they were going to do. They listened to that. They're like, okay, we won't do that. But when it was with X Defiant, you know, they listened
And
a
they're
little bit. They're
still
like,
on
oh, we
this
should. You know,
they're still on that NFT crap too.
NFT shit, yeah. Agreed, 100%. So I think they've made some. They haven't leaned into. They've continued to lean into AC, but they haven't leaned into Division. You know, maybe the Division didn't do as well as it should have. I don't know why they haven't leaned into that as just continuing that. It's like that's their other big IP that they could continue to lean on, like smash AC.
Well, they do have Rainbow
visuals.
They have Rainbow Siege 2 coming out, I think this summer. So
right,
that should be good for them. I mean, the regular one already is very successful for them, but the second one should give them a good.
But
boost.
then they launched Extraction. You know what I mean? Which was a game like they've made some just shit business decisions,
bad decisions.
That are just. So I think the negativity is deserved at Ubisoft as a company for many reasons. So I 100%. But I think you have to like take each game as a little bit in a vacuum, not judge that game on the previous, you know, like game. And I looking at the RPG system, so Umbra, like there was a big change with Origins, which you didn't, and a big shift towards that RPG. And when they did that, I thought that was great. I don't think it was an Assassin's Creed though, and I think they should have split the series and continued the traditional Assassin's Creed. And maybe have made a new RPG, but it's hard to launch a new IP, so I get it. But you can still have those two things. But I think they've done really well with Assassin's Creed as a whole over time. And so, so I don't think the negativity pointed at this game is deserved. I think it's maybe a bit of a return to form for Ubisoft, and I hope it sort of teaches them a lesson. But when it comes to creators, yeah, 100%. I have noticed the creators have become really fucking jaded. You know, Destin's take on a few things. I'm like, where is this sort of coming from? Maybe he hasn't been able to be as forthcoming with his negativity because of he was with IGN. So maybe that. I do think, you know, he's a fairly genuine creator. You know, talk about Mr. Matty Salutations. Yeah, I think a lot of people have been a bit jaded by his negativity lately. Yeah, I have seen over the community, there's been a bit of negativity sort of happening, and you know, there's been a lot of negative things happening within the community. I guess so. It maybe has had an effect, you know, like a net negative effect, and this is the result of it. But I think when you play a good game, and this is a good game. You should call that out for what it is. I think the combat's great. If he's saying the combat isn't great, it's a strange take to me. I don't know why you would say that. I haven't played it long enough, maybe to form a full opinion. But Umbra, you're loving it, so that's a thing. Holly, do you feel like creators have just been negative for no reason of late, or do you think it's a net negative, just sort of the way the industry is at the moment, negativity style?
I don't think that creators have been unnecessarily negative. I think that there's just a lot of. I think the gaming industry has a lot of problems right now. And I also think that the slightly political, right? I just think that for the last, you know, what we see now, what we see coming out now is stuff that's been in the works for years, right? Probably since 2020-ish, 2019, 2021, somewhere in there, right? A lot of the stuff the games that we're starting to see come out now were started then and have been in development through the last 4 or 5 years, right? So having said that, I think that gaming was following politics. And we've seen, of course, we've seen things change in that landscape. And what I think has happened is that we've seen people fatigued with a lot of things in just everyday life. And when they see that ooze into their hobby, they get frustrated. On the flip side, there are people who are looking to take advantage of that fatigue and wrap things up into extremism, wrap things up into trying to either push an agenda or make money off of the people who are easy to anger. So I do think it is a little bit of both. And I think if you are a person on either side or just completely in the center and understand, to a degree, both viewpoints, you're tired of hearing about it, period. Full stop. Hey, buddy.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay.
Say PC for life.
Say we like PCs. You can't hear us, right?
I'll be right back, guys. Just give me a minute.
Okay. So my point is that everybody is tired of hearing about it one way or another, right? And I think what that has done, and there's been a lot of bad games. I mean, there's just been a lot of bad games too. Whether it's live service, whether it's message driven that you don't agree with, whether it's idiots that are yelling into the void about things that are in video games for no reason, or to get your clicks, therefore get your money. There's a lot of fatigue everywhere. And people are tired of it. Like, I don't want to hear about that crap. I just want to play video games, have a good story, want to have fun. I want to play good combat. And I want to walk away saying, hey, that was a good time, right? I enjoyed that. And not everything has to be a masterpiece. There's plenty of games that are in between that are just a good time. And that's what they are, right? So you are absolutely right in the fact that there are plenty of content creators that seem overtly negative now. But I think it's just the general wear and tear on everyone in the community and also them, right? Like it's just fatigue. And I think that when you're fatigued, you're more hypercritical about things than maybe you would be normally, right? If it wasn't just constant all the time. And like, I will say, I like Legendary Drops. I think he's really smart. I think he presents points very well. He blew up like wild. His YouTube like skyrocketed, right? Because he was making these really well thought out videos. He was talking from the heart and also smart about how he was presenting his message. But same thing with Legendary Drops is like most of his stuff now is a lot of negative. Like it's okay to be negative, but I think people in general like to have a good balance, right? It's like
Yep.
you were saying, Mr. Matty plays, right? He's more negative. It feels like he's more negative. And it could be too, just because we've had a slew of games that just really haven't hit the mark and they've been a drag, right? So I don't know. That's just where I think we all are. I think that's where content creators are. I don't blame them. But I do think that if you are making content that's about exploring why things are bad or exploring how things failed or what the problem is with something, that's great. Like go at it and explain it, show your opinion, show your backup for it. But you also need to have a better balance of things that you enjoy or videos about things that are positive. Even if you have to go back and do something like the Ackman does, who talks about why was Gears of War so good, right? Like that kind of stuff. You got to have balance. Otherwise, everybody gets tired. You start losing engagement. You start losing your subs because people don't want to hear all of the like Debbie Downer stuff 100% of the time.
Yeah, no, 100%. I 100% agree with that. I think but also I think developers need to go back and look at some of the games of the past and the simplicity and just the fun aspect, and then put that into their games as well. But I think the unwarranted negativity towards games because of the culture war stuff, like Assassin's Creed. I mean, again, it used to be that you could not have a valid opinion on a game unless you had played it. You know, you see, I will just say I don't have a problem with Elon. Like I know a lot of people hate the dude. Like that's all politics stuff. I'm not getting into. I don't really have a problem, but you know, when to see Elon then jump in and talk about a game he hasn't played, you know what I mean, and saying that someone's being a grifter because they like the game and he's been paid to say this or whatever it is, or you know, there is an access journalism thing, but you know what I mean. And then to see Assassin's Creed just absolutely destroy, that was hilarious. Full top rope like suplex, that one. But to see all that stuff come into the gaming sphere, like just
but keep your politics out of gaming too. That's my other big complaint. Keep your politics out of gaming. If you want to have a way to tell a story and it fits the narrative and it fits the game, it's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen the nuance like you saw in Mass Effect or even Cyberpunk, right? Like all of the things that people whine about in current games that have not gone well is because the games are just bad and they're not telling or doing their narrative correctly. If that's what you choose to have, A, does it fit this story? If it doesn't, it shouldn't be here, period, full stop. Maybe you should work on something else if that's not what you're interested in. Or B, find a way to like have the player play through it where they don't feel like they're being, you know, knocked over the head with whatever your message is. I don't care if it's blue is your favorite color.
You know,
like I don't want to hear it unless like it fits what you're doing. And it's in a way that just like it interacts with a person in a way that even if it's not necessarily something that in your personal life you are supportive of or whatever, it makes you think, right? And that's what should be occurring if it's done well in the right narrative.
I think Dragon Age, and I haven't played it yet, so again, I'm breaking my rule here, but from the looks of a lot of the stuff, it in spots it hits you over the head with that bullshit, and it's like, don't talk to me as a player in the game, like talk to, you know what I mean? You're always doing that, but like have the story happen in a way that's organic that I can interact with. Yes, but
and sometimes it's just not meant to be there. Like that's probably not meant to be in a fantasy RPG, right? Like it's probably just not meant to be there. Like if you want to do that, find a project that it fits, find a way to engage with the player in a way that's pleasing to the player without, you know, all the things you just said.
Yeah, 100%. So there's been a lot of that. Like there's been quite a bit of that in games, but then there's also been the hyperbole of like from that side as well, where they're like targeting games that, like ZOW, for instance. You know, ZOW got unfairly targeted for absolutely no reason. Like there was the game was about what it was about, and people who were interested in that game could go and play the game or not. There's no need to throw in the attacks, you know, and start throwing in jabs to try to destroy a game, you know, for absolutely no reason, because that game was its thing, right? Where I agree with Dragon Age, and it wasn't just the content of what they were talking about. It was also in Dragon Age, like listening to the some of the cutscenes I've seen. The way that they talk does not fit the time period or the aesthetic or the type of game. It's not like, didn't have the RPG feel, right? Like it was very weird. Whereas when you play Avowed and people are talking, it has the RPG feel. So, you know what I mean? Like there was an RPG feel to it. Like you expect a certain type of conversation, you know what I mean? And yeah, and Avowed was unfairly targeted because in the beginning of the game, you could choose a pronoun. Like, I have no problem with that. If you want to have that in the game, that's absolutely fine. Do that.
And there's like, you know, if we're just going to talk about it, like Grum's, even if he had a valid point on anything, in my opinion, it's all invalid because I feel like all he does is do this to enrage a certain base, to engage an audience, to get the clicks, to get the money, to have a group of people that are like followers of his, right? That's what I feel about him. Even if he had a valid point, and sometimes he might have a valid point. But it's all diluted because this is what you've chosen to do with your platform, right? So like
Agreed.
it's the same thing when you talk about like when you guys are talking about content creators that you feel have gone very negative. It's like, well, you start to lose people because then they're just like, well, he's negative all the time. I'm not going to bother to listen to him. Like, why would I even listen to him just because I can't? He's going to hate it. Case closed. I already know. Right. Different analogy, but you know what I mean. It's the same thing. You just turn people off.
Yeah. A certain subsex of the community loves that negativity. Yeah, but I agree with the Grums thing. Like a stop clock is right twice a day, right? Like there's going to be times where like he might hit the nail on the head, but it's only because he's hitting every fucking nail that comes up. Like one of those nails,
and not
is
because he believes in it, but because he's looking for all of them.
Yeah. The definition of the overused word grifter. That's what he is. 100% a grifter. He is the textbook definition of what a grifter is. He didn't believe in. I don't think he believes in it. I think he's just like tries to hit every game that comes out. And he would be searching, I think, just for something. And I think all those guys are the Hypnotics of the world, even the Cult Classic Cages of the world. I think they're all like looking for that thing. And when they've done this, they've opened the door for all of that culture war bullshit though to come in. You know what I mean? They've completely opened the door. Like you could call it out, make your opinion known, and then move the fuck on, right? And when you focus hard on it, it brings in eyes, it brings in people who that's their thing, and that's what they do. They roll up a base about politics, and I just would rather it wasn't in there. You know what I mean? And that's what I'd say to the developers: keep that sort of stuff out of there. So we're not opening the door for when the avowed art director says that sort of stuff online, which might have been acceptable back in that time because that was the Overton window that people were working within, and it seemed like the right thing corporately for him to say. And so understanding that, I understand that, right?
Right.
But stay the fuck out of that politics side of things, man. Stay out of it. Like don't enrage the base. Don't comment on it. Feel what you feel.
Well,
have your own personal opinions. But like if you're a public facing figure playing creating games, keep that shit to yourself, because all you're doing is bringing pain on your studio.
And also as a consumer, like if you hear about stuff, you have the right to feel whatever way it is that you feel about something, whether you love it, whether you hate it, whatever. But it doesn't mean also that you have to judge or inflict your opinion on anybody else either. I mean, you could say, yeah, I'm just not going to buy it. Just vote with your wallet, And I feel like it's fine. Whatever your opinion is, you do you. Vote with your wallet. You don't need to persecute anybody else for their difference of opinion. And that's it. If you just say, I'm not going to buy it because of X, that's it. And respect somebody else when they choose to vote with their wallet, whichever way it is.
Yeah, 100%. And just the Spartan 661, longtime supporter of the channel as well. Shout out to you, man. He said, if religion or political views are in a game, make sure it isn't biased. Just do it or do your research. And I think it could be biased as long as it fits the narrative of like what you're doing. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of political stuff in Avowed. You know what I mean? There's a lot of political stuff in Metaphor, right? But it's handled in a very nuanced way. There's a lot of stuff that pertains to racism in Metaphor from the very small amount I played, because I got sick and tired of waiting every 5 minutes for a cutscene or a stop and start. But it's done in a way, in a nuanced way, where one side is more evil than the other side. But I even think, even you look back in history, like the evil guys aren't just evil. There's nuance into how they're thinking and how they get there, right? And you know what I mean? If you're telling a story, you want to open the story up to that nuance. So absolutely have when Holly said, keep the politics out of gaming. It's hard. That is a hard thing to say, and I used to say that. And I'll shout out to Everborn. He's like, but most games have politics in it. And I'm like, well, absolutely right. But when you shoehorn stuff in that doesn't fit, you can feel it, man. Like we all feel inauthenticity.
There are, I could name at least 5 different games off the top of my head that are absolute masterpieces that deal with LGBTQ or deal with, racial concerns or deal with politics that are absolutely fantastic games because they're done well. I just feel like if you're going to approach any of those subjects, there's a time and there's a place and there's a very specific way to do it. Right. Because it goes wrong more than it goes right.
Yeah.
Not that it shouldn't be done. You just have to be smart, like Spartan said.
Yeah, shout out to Russell, 13 Deck. And he's got a Staffy owner. Shout out to you. I have a Staffy. My shins are also battered. Also, Neil Druckmann on Intergalactic. Our game is about faith and religion. Good. There's a lot of games about, like Assassin's Creed 2. One of the best games is one of the reasons they started putting up that thing at the start of their game. This is fictional. Blah 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 blah. Like the Pope was one of the bad guys in that, like the final boss in the game, right? There's a lot of dealing with religion and stuff like that, but I think it did it in such a way that was, one, it was fun to play. Two, it was a really good story. Three, it was entertaining. And I think you can deal with any topic in a game or in any piece of media. But if you do it badly and inauthentically, and you're trying to like force a message, like hyper focus on a particular message without giving the other side, people see that, Unless it's like, a cardboard cutout cartoon meme game where you're like one's evil and one's not. But if that's not the type of game, like Dragon Age is not that type of game where like Inquisition was like very nuanced on why the characters were doing evil things, but they had motivations that made sense. You know what I mean? There was nuance in their character. They were well written. So I think that might be the bigger thing is that we haven't really seen great story writing and gaming for a little while. I think through the 360 era and PlayStation 3, even PlayStation 4 era, and Xbox One era, we saw some really, really great, well-written games. Some of them from Naughty Dog made some great ones. Santa Monica made great ones. I think Gears wasn't a great story, but it didn't really start to evolve its story till later on. I think 3 was where it hit its stride with story and feeling. I want to see more of that. But I think Assassin's Creed is doing that. I don't know about story-wise deep in. Umbra, you would probably have a bit more of an understanding of how the story is sort of going. But and insofar as respect, I think Ubisoft's been very respectful of Japanese culture as well. Just the shit that came out about how they were being super disrespectful to Japanese culture is just not true in any stretch of the imagination. Look, I do want to wrap up at Umbra, like story-wise, because I haven't gotten into it, but I feel like it's okay. It's pretty good. I still think Origins is like killing it. With Abubakar Salim. I think he's one of the great actors of our time. But how you feel about that? Is he asleep?
He's probably asleep.
He's currently sleeping. Do you think he fell asleep?
He's muted.
I think he fell asleep.
And asleep. I was wondering how he sat through that whole conversation about that and didn't pipe up at once.
Not once. Yeah. Do you think he's snoring right now? Oh, I wish I could just unmute him.
Can you unmute him?
No, I can't. I can only send you a request. It'd be fantastic.
Should I call him while we're on stream live? Wake him up.
I don't think anything wakes him up. But I do want to wrap the show. We do have a little bit more to talk about that's in there. Like Crystal Dynamics did lay off 17 of its team, which is a very small amount. But I feel like there might be something on the way with that. But we've sort of hit the 2-hour mark, so I don't want to bring it down, and we don't want to have to, wake Umbra up from his perfect slumber.
Riskit, are you going to play Atomfall?
It's got a lot of survival elements. So how are you feeling about it yourself?
I love Atomfall. It is phenomenal. It's really, really good. They do have a bunch of different sliders, though, for survival, for combat, for like exploration. So you can customize the game to either be super survival heavy or like, I don't want to deal with that. Take it out. It's really, really good. It's very, very good. It's excellent. I like it a lot.
Well, it seems that Umbra's awake again. Yeah, look, there's a few things that have come out that I think have missed people's radar. So Adam Fall's one of them. I'll probably check it out, but I'm like into Assassin's Creed at the moment. But also, I don't know if anyone knows that Fragpunk launched on March 6th. So that's been out for like nearly a whole month. So I do want to check that out too. Apparently, it's actually in the okay side of. I don't think there's any more room for hero shooters. Adam Fall, I'll check it out. It's on Game Pass, of course I will. But I don't feel like it's going to be one of my. Yeah, I don't feel like it's going to be one of my my games. I mean, did you finish Stalker?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be in that sort of that sort of.
It's not as unforgiving as Stalker is. Plus, with all those sliders, you can just turn the survivability stuff like practically off. Just like make it like I don't want to bother with that part.
God tier. Yeah, I mean, Monad's saying it's more like it's more like Stalker than Fallout, and I didn't like either. You know what I mean? So they're not my type of games. You know what I mean? I don't really. I like Assassin's Creed is definitely my type of game. I love that stuff. It's got the RPG elements. It's the action adventure RPG elements, but there's not a whole lot of shooting in Adamfall either, is there? It's more melee stuff, right? Okay.
No,
if you got guns, maybe.
You get a gun like almost right away. But they're
Okay.
rusty. They're rusty, so you have to like work towards getting stuff to upgrade your guns. But it's stealth because you have to be smart. It depends on how you have your sliders, right? You have to be smart about if you're just gonna like go in to a group and fight them, or if you want to like start, like picking them off from the shadows if you can. And then the guns don't automatically reload. When you shoot, you have to actively hit for it to reload. Yeah.
Okay. I know Umbra responded because he denied my request to unmute. So I don't know if he's back with us.
He went back to Discord.
Back to Discord. Back to sleeping in Discord. I know he's here. He's here.
Don't listen to her.
Oh, he was asleep. Listen to that.
What?
That whole time.
Not. I had to step away. That's all I was. That's all.
Into La La Land.
La La Land, yeah. Catching the Z's. Well, look, I do want to wrap because we're at 2 hours and 15, and my kid was he came in to see me. He came back in again, and he's having a bit of a meltdown out there. So, because he's not allowed to watch TV. When I get out there, he'll be watching TV, we'll playing video games, we'll be doing some chilled out stuff. So, apparently, he's not very well this morning. So, poor little bugger. Holly, let the people know where. Well, let's do Umbra first in case he falls back asleep. Umbra, let the people know where they can find you, what you'd be up to. How's your how your week's going? Is he there? He's going. He's back.
He's gone again.
I feel like I play into it. Oh man, I feel so refreshed right now. I don't know. I feel so refreshed. Anyway, you guys can find me Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite all across social media, and of course Tuesdays Xbox Infinite, Xbox Factor with Boom, myself, and Jamie Moran,
where he also sleeps.
I have
catch him sleeping
Z's.
there at this time.
I have caught some Z's during Booms. I won't lie to you. As at 12 o'clock Eastern, Thursdays my show and Daniel J McG the Fix at 8 o'clock Eastern, and of course back here with the family here. So on Fridays, thank you all for being here with us in the chat. Go and play some games. Yeah, no biff, no poops. Infinite sleep. Somebody got it right. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I'm definitely gonna get a snoring button on this thing. For sure, if we go to Umbra and it's silent, we're just gonna hit the snore button. Holly, let the people know where they can find you. We'll be up to. How's your week looking? You got your stream coming up, so it's stream happening. Bigger Holly. We need a bigger Holly with more skill. But she's working on the skill though. She'll get there. Let people know where I can find you.
He's so proud of himself with that joke. Do you see how yeah, so I've done 2 streams of Doom Eternal, one with Bird. And tomorrow and Sunday, I will be streaming more Doom Eternal. I'm hoping to finish Doom Eternal up by the middle of the month to give myself like a month break, before Dark Ages comes out. But tomorrow, I think I'm gonna try to start around noon just to give some space for Kayasante. It's actually really hard to find time to get yourself in with in the daytimes with all of these other people doing things at night because you don't want to overlap too much, but that is what it is. So tomorrow, maybe noon, is when I think I'm gonna start. So that gives K 3 hours. You better button it up, right? And Sunday as well. And then after that, I don't know. Stay tuned. You should just come and watch me on Saturday and Sunday to know when the next one is after that.
You say by the middle of the month, or you're going to wrap
By the
it up
middle of
before?
April. Yeah, it depends on how bad. I mean, I am low to average at Doom Eternal right now. So that's just being honest. I've died. I've not ever died. I've done practice rounds a few times, so my death counter is at 0. Anyway, and then Tuesday nights I'm on the Renegade Realm podcast at 5 p.m. Central over on Red Wolf's channel. Gray Monette, I have not finished Indie. I went back to it last night and I was trying to do some more. I'm close. I have fatigue now trying to finish it. So
yeah, I got fatigue with it. Like yeah, man. I hate to say it. It was a good game, but
it's a fantastic game. Yes, it's a very good game. I just got fatigued. Yeah, there's so much.
I feel like it would have been better in third, man. I'm always I'm a third person player. I prefer that. It's me. I don't know if that would be everyone or if that would make a difference. But Adidas20 with $2 super chat says, salute to you, sir. Thank you very much. And Biff Rinaldi, who put in a 4 months of membership chat. Thank you for the support, Biff. You're an absolute legend. He says, my teenager plays 90% Fortnite, waste of a Series S. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, agreed. Fortnite's great, but and you gotta get these kids to branch out, man. You gotta get these kids to step out of their comfort zone. Well, look, that's pretty much it for the show, guys. Shout out to you in the chat. You guys have all been absolutely amazing. We've had 115 through on all the platforms. That's X and over on YouTube. So appreciate every single one of you guys watching, coming through, supporting us each week. Monad, fantastic to hear that you've got an Xbox coming. So that's crazy. I'll try to catch up with you through the week, but it's real hard, man, with work at the moment. And shout out to Holly and Umbra. Appreciate you guys coming through every week, supporting me on the panel here. Donte, shout out to him. He's got some stuff going on this week, so he could not make it. And Garuda, of course, will be back when his roster allows. And we will see you all in the next one. And this will be after South of Midnight launches, so it's going to be a real exciting show. I'm going to be super excited. As soon as that thing launches, I'm going to be straight on it. So, come check out the next show next week, and we will see you all then.
Later, guys.
Bye.